Hey everyone, welcome to the June Fragrance Awards. This is a series that I've been doing for 2 years at this point. Wow, I think May or April of this year marked 2 years. This is where I share with you a lot of the fragrances that I wore over the past month and put them into some faux award categories to share with you my thoughts on them. Before we jump into this month, I have to take a second. In the video that I did called Wow, Summer Fragrances That Do Really Well in High Heat, I did this roll call and asked folks to weigh in. Where in the United States are you? Where around the world are you? And I have to say, every single continent was represented in the comments. Well, not Antarctica, obviously, but every other continent was represented. We had Western Europe, Eastern Europe, Northern Africa, Central and Southern Africa. We had all of the Asian continent from the former Russian nations all the way through the Middle East and down into South Asia, East Asia. We even had Japan in the house. We had Australia, New Zealand, North America, Canada, and the US represented big, of course. Central America, the Caribbean, South America, every continent, every region of the world, except Antarctica, was represented. And I was just blown away that there were so many people from around the world who, one, watched the channel. So huge, huge heart to all of you. Thank you. It was like a super humbling thing to read through the comments. In fact, I was tearing up that day looking and going, oh my gosh, I've got people in this country and that country and that country watching. So I really appreciate you and welcome you to continue to be part of the community in the comments and enjoy each other's company and share your fragrance gems from around the world. Mwah, I appreciate you so, so very much. The first category is best for the season. So June can be a little bit all over the place. We actually had a few cold days here, especially the past week, and they were rainy. I'm in Central Virginia, by the way, sorry, in the Richmond, Virginia area. And the weather can be all over the place. We've had hot days, cold days, rainy days, everything. I have worn a lot of my summer fragrances that you've seen in my summer series videos. And I want to talk about one that I haven't given a lot of love to. I did mention it in my coconut fragrances video. It is Jean-Paul Gaultier Le Beau. Now, there is a parfum version of this. This is the regular Le Beau version. I love this bottle. I know some people think that the body bottles from Gaultier or JPG, Jean-Paul Gaultier, yeah, JPG, are gaudy. And yes, but this is like deliciously gaudy. The juice is blue, as you see, and the fig leaf, hello, avert your eyes. But this is just super cool. A nice brother, if you will, to the La Belle bottle, which is the female shape, if you're familiar with the line. By the way, I saw a teaser for a new Jean-Paul Gaultier bottle, female bottle that's coming out that looks like a fembot. So let me know if you know anything about that. So this fragrance is mostly coconut, vanilla, and some woodiness. I love that it is marketed toward men, but very, very unisex and wearable in my opinion, and loved in this house. Everyone enjoyed it. Husband thought this smelled really good on me. This has strong projection and longevity. This one took me through the whole day. I was surprised because when I sampled this one, I felt like it maybe gave me between 4 to 6-ish hours, somewhere in that range. But I'm gonna tell you what, the day that I wore this, it went on and on and on into the evening hours, and pleasantly so. It does get a little bit softer about midday. It's not gonna, be beast mode projection all day, but it does give you good longevity. And I love that it's this almost like a creamy coconut, not super, juicy, creamy like what you get in Soleil, just a little bit drier than that, but still on the creamy side. Lovely sweetness from a vanilla, and this just like soft woodiness in the background that sort of grounds the fragrance and makes it a little bit more serious perhaps than some of your usual playful summertime fragrances that smell like fruit drinks, where are like too coconut forward, all of that. Nice mix of all of that coconut, vanilla, woodiness for a really pleasant scent experience. That's great for daytime, evening, all kinds of occasions. So this is the Eau de Toilette concentration again, and you can find it by just Googling Le Beau, Jean-Paul Gaultier, and check out this bottle. Really, really cool. And some of the versions come with a travel spray. So that's the one I got. This full, I think it's 4 ounces. Whoa, it's 4.2 ounces. And it has like a 10 ml travel spray that comes with it too that I'll be taking on vacation this summer. Best for the season. Next, we go to the best everyday fragrance. Let me tell you, this fragrance has made it through declutter after declutter after declutter, and she's still standing tall and proud and strong. I call her the giraffe, the skyscraper of my fragrance collection, and it is good old Burberry Body. I purchased this fragrance back in 2020 when I first started my channel. I know it looks like I haven't maybe gone through a lot, but this month I used this a lot. Not only did I douse my entire self in it, I sprayed everything in my bathroom. I sprayed our towels. I sprayed the mats that we step on when we come out of the shower. I sprayed even our bed linens with this fragrance, and my robe. I doused my robe in it. This lasted forever and ever and ever. I have to say, it's one of those fragrances that if you just ask me, does it last long? Does it project? I will go, oh, it's soft. And it is, but it does have some projection off of your skin, and it lasted quite a long time, especially on fabric. It seemed to just go on and on and on for days, and it's so pleasant. There's something so spa-like about this to me. There are some cold florals in here. If you look on Fragrantica, it tells you that there's peach at the top and that peach is the most prominent note. I don't know that I can say that I get peach. For me, this feels more like what I call my purple florals, your iris and your violet, and those kinds of florals together. And so in that sense, it has this cold, structured effect to it. However, it also has some background warmth in the fragrance. It's musky, it's a little bit powdery, it's very unassuming, a very easy day-to-day wear where you will smell put together, classy, clean, structured, but not fussy. It's a very unfussy fragrance and a very unoffensive fragrance, just very easy to like, wears well on the skin. So I know that there are flankers to this. I haven't tried any of the flankers. If you have, let me know what you've tried and what would you recommend. But so far, this lady, she has she's hung tough in the collection here in this house. So Burberry Body, best every day. My special occasion fragrance is none other than one that I think is really difficult for a lot of people to wear, but for me, it is a no-brainer that has been in my collection. Gosh, has it been 2 decades at this point? Something in that neighborhood. Robert Piguet Fracas. Okay, this fragrance here, if you are a tuberose lover and if you like something fruity in your tuberose, this is your jam. This is not your bubblegum baby girl tuberose. This is for the grown and sexy among you. I think it mostly leans feminine. However, I can so see this being an absolutely beautiful, blooming fragrance on male chemistry as well. In fact, I might like secretly spritz my husband with this. He probably would hate me because it, it is heavily floral. Beautiful, beautiful tuberose, creamy. This feels to me like butter, like a whipped butter. Well, maybe more like a creamy butter with heaps of tuberose, real soft, like ethereal but rich tuberose in it, along with a fruity accord, mostly from a peach, a really soft, delicate peach in here. One of the most heavenly, sophisticated tuberoses that I have ever tried. I call this the queen of tuberose fragrances, and I think I will probably have this bottle. I have a backup. So a bottle of this fragrance in my collection for many, many years to come, many decades. So special occasion, could you wear it to the office? I have, because I'm crazy. I would do very light spritzes of this if you're going to be in a crowded environment with other people. And then for evening affairs, it's elegant, it shines, it's sophisticated, it's the belle of the ball kind of a fragrance. Next is the sexiest fragrance. There were many that I could put in this category, but there's something about this fragrance I'm going to share with you that brings out like my highest feminine energy. Fracas does that also, but this one does it in just a different way. Alien Goddess Intense. I am an alien girl. I got married with alien in the dead heat of summer. Imagine that. And if I had this at the time, perhaps this would have been a contender at that moment in my life with the mindset that I had about fragrances. This is a spectacular, in my opinion, combination of vanilla and coconut and white florals. It is simply divine and delicious. It is a creamy coconut, in my opinion, really heavily bolstered by this gorgeous, thick vanilla, almost heady white floral, but not quite. We're not going in the heady direction just yet, but like just below that, definitely not indolic, in my opinion. I've heard people say that the white florals in here are indolic. I'm not really sure what those folks are smelling, because to me, it is a really nicely done white floral that doesn't smell stinky in any way whatsoever. It does not smell like decaying flowers. This, for me, it performs super well on my skin. And it reminds me, because I wore this and I was like, this smells familiar. It reminds me a lot of The Only One Intense by Dolce & Gabbana. In the black bottle, it doesn't have the bright fruity aspect that has. Like that has an apple note at the top. This one is more so the sort of creamy, coconutty, vanillic, floral dry down. divine for year round and especially gorgeous as the weather warms up here. I can't say enough good words about how feminine and warm and inviting this fragrance is. It's amazing. In the category of biggest surprise, I am so pleased to share with you that Moresque Seta really surprised me this month. I've worn this before. I think I purchased this last fall, like late summer into last fall, something like that. So I've had it for a good amount of time. I've worn it several times. When I first started to review this fragrance, I talked about the fact that at that time in my mind, it felt like it was a soft fragrance that didn't project much or maybe didn't last the longest time. I don't know if it's because it's had a chance to sit. I don't know if it is because my sense of smell has shifted over the year. I was so pleasantly surprised by this fragrance, really projecting nicely off of me. Not 2 rooms over, y'all, but a beautiful scent bubble that also just expanded quite a bit, like someone across a table, for example, can smell this on you, and giving me great longevity. I was smelling this even toward the end of my workday. So I start my workday somewhere around 8 a.m. in the morning-ish, something like that, between 8 and 9. And I can go between 5 and 6 for my workday, sometimes longer. But at about dinner time, when I took off of work, this was still going, is rather what I wanted to say. You could still smell it. It's a little softer, but it was there. What does it smell like? This is a cozy, cocooning, really warm, friendly vanilla. It feels like a blanket, like a hug, a cashmere sweater kind of a hug. It's ambery. It has a little bit of spiciness. I don't pick up a ton of like smoky spice in here. Some people do. Not for me. This is a very soft, subtle, almost like a baby spice that's in here, if you will. Is there a baby spice in the Spice Girls? Not like that. Not that kind of spicy. But is there a baby spice? But anyway, a really subtle spiciness. Lovely, gorgeous, soft vanilla with that cocooning amber, a beautiful sandalwood note. You know, if you're a person that is not into this sort of like traditional gourmandy vanillas, you may want to check this one out. It even has a little bit of a doughy effect. Well, yeah, like a doughy effect, like the smell of freshly made bread, very, very slight in the background. There's just something so comforting and delightful about this Moresque Seta. In the category of the best bottle, there were some really lovely bottles. In fact, okay, I'm going to stick to my original plan. I'm looking at one off camera here that I'm like, actually, you are really beautiful. I'll talk about that in a little bit. But I wanted to give some shine to a bottle that maybe isn't the fanciest in my collection, but it makes me happy when I pick it up. And I think it's so pretty in a simple way. It's Nest Sunkissed Hibiscus, which you've seen in my other summer videos at this point. They put the artwork on the back. That's one scene, if you will. And then inside of the bottle on the back of it, you have, well, it's hibiscus, although hibiscus is not featured actually as a note in this fragrance, which I find really interesting. It's actually a frangipane and coconut and amber fragrance. It's a very warm, cocooning, again, using that word, cocooning fragrance for summer. I find this to be a little bit more mature for summer fragrances in a nice way. This is one that I like to wear when I maybe don't want to smell like super young and flirty with like the really like fruity body spray-ish type of summer fragrances, or the more simplistic coconuts. I want something a little bit more complex, yet not too super grown up. This is a beautiful, beautiful one that has a nice coconut, nice florals in it, and also has a lovely amber accord, which adds some nice maturity to this fragrance. I'm gonna give you a layering tip that I just discovered. I had Seta sprayed on the back of my hand. Ooh, it's still oily from the application. Look at that. Look at it. I had a little bit of Seta on there and I just sprayed this over that. And I love it. I love it. So if you want to take this from daytime to nighttime, pair it maybe with an ambery vanilla. And there you go. You have an entirely different experience for nighttime while still preserving some of the core of this fragrance. I really enjoy this. It's not the super longest lasting. I get a good half a day out of it. A nice little scent bubble. It's not like a bee smoke kind of fragrance at all, but it's really nice. And it's on the more affordable side for what it is and available at stores like Sephora. So there you go. Nicest bottle. Now for the worst bottle, and I'm now vaguely remembering that I either picked on this bottle in a previous video like this, one of the monthly awards, or one of its sisters in the line. Laura Mercier, the Eau Gourmand line, and this is Ambre Vanille. Oh my gosh, y'all. one of my favorite vanilla coconut fragrances. Did I put you in my coconut video? I think I did. And I have the whole story about how this reminds me of the Coquito Man in New York and smells like the little Coquito icy that you would pay the quarter for, etc., etc. You can go to my coconut video and check that out. But this fragrance is too beautiful for this simplistic bottle. It really needs something grand. Okay, I'm going to give you a spoiler alert so you see what I mean. I'm going to be talking about later in this video Chantecaille's Frangipane. So look at the difference in bottles here, okay? This belongs in a bottle this grand and beautiful. It is one of the most spectacular summer smells. And I have to apologize to this bottle. I am so sorry because I'm always ragging on that this doesn't last very long and I wish it lasted longer. Well, okay. I'm constantly applying to skin, and yeah, maybe on skin it kind of fades at like the, 3 to 4-ish, hour-ish, mark-ish, maybe 5-ish hours, depending on how you moisturize and all of that. And that is still the case. But this is another one, like Burberry Body, that I sprayed at night before going to bed. I sprayed all down my robe. I sprayed it on the towels. I sprayed it on the bed. I sprayed it here, there, and everywhere. And it lasted, and I could smell it the next morning. And when I woke up and put my towel on to go get ready for the day, not my towel, my robe. When I put on my robe to get ready for the day, my robe smelled divine. And I was like, oh, this is a goddess fragrance. It is so freaking fracking good. It's a happy summertime, oh my God, gourmand fragrance. So this has the most gorgeous coconut as well as an orchid note and a little bit of citrus to lend some brightness, almonds, sandalwood, but by and large, just a happy, bright coconut with a little splash of citrus, a little splash of floral. I just adore this. Can we get this a better bottle? This is a shame. This is like a beautiful, well put together person walking out of their house in a cardboard box. No one's going to see the beauty because they're going to be focused on the box. So then my favorite blind buy friends, I am so happy to talk about this fragrance in a positive light. When I first purchased it and shared out on this channel, I just wasn't sure about it because it didn't smell how I expected based on the notes. And I have tried it again and really, really enjoyed this Bianco Puro from Tiziana Terenzi. So because of the name, Pure White, I was expecting this to be a light and fluffy fragrance. I know the notes don't look light and fluffy if you take a look at them, but I was going off of the fact that the bottle was all white and the name. Anyway, got this fragrance and smelled it, and I thought it was almost the opposite of this. It was like, in my mind, if you had to put a color to it, the color of a beautiful, dark, tobacco-colored leather. That's what came to mind for me. And I tested it and I thought it was nice then, but I just wasn't sure if I was going to keep it because there was such a disconnect between what I was expecting and what it actually was. And then I wore it again and was like, I get it. I get why people rave about this. So I have to say, when you look up the notes, there's mango and I think some other sort of tropical notes that would make you think this smells different. And it doesn't smell like that at all. This is very much a really easy to wear oud. Don't be afraid of oud, you all. My friends out there that like more feminine fragrances, try some different fragrances that have a little bit of oud in them and see what you think. This is a gentle, to me, starter type of oud, not overpowering at all. So I love that it's both oudy, a little woody, has a touch of incense, like a little tick, some spices. It has some sweetness in the background. Oh God, it spreads there. It's captivating, a beautiful vanilla in the fragrance that I think lends some smoothness, some warmth to the fragrance. It leans a little bit feminine. I mean, I guess some people might consider the oud part of this masculine, but for me, because you have some sweetness in the background, that lovely, almost like cushioning vanilla for the oud, and it does have some slight sweet fruitiness in the very background. It has really grown on me and has become my favorite blind buy of everything that I tried in June. In the category of not a safe blind buy, although I do enjoy this fragrance, I acknowledge it's not going to be for everyone and it's a little bit weird. I do like me some weird fragrances. This is from Comme des Garçons and it is Nomad tea. Mint. Artemisia has this like sharp greenness, like maybe like an earthy greenness to it, and a green tea And I think there's woodiness, but for me, it comes across almost like an earthy patchouli kind of a smell. I like that it's weird, it's grounding, it's earthy, it's refreshing all at the same time. I have it on my white t-shirt shelf. It maybe doesn't belong in that casual of a category because it does have some heft to it. It is, I would say, in terms of thickness as a fragrance, it's not light, it's not super heavy, but it is somewhere in the middle. And you have to be a tea lover. You have to like earthy, almost spa-like fragrances to enjoy this and be a fan of what can come across as like this wet dirt type of accord in a fragrance. I enjoyed this when I wore it. I don't think it's one that I would reach for every day, but when I'm in the mood for something sort of grounding, mentally stimulating from the mint, and also comforting from the tea, and the greenness that's in it. Green notes can be very comforting to me. I might reach for something like this Nomad tea. This is neat. This is available on, I think it was Lucky Scent that I got this if you're interested in checking this fragrance out. In the category of overhyped fragrance is one that I do enjoy wearing, but it was one of those that when I tried it the first time and the second time and the third and the fourth time, I couldn't understand why it had gotten just so much YouTube press, so to speak, and Instagram press. This was gifted to me by the brand a while back. This is from Nuit, Nomad, and this is Jardins de Misfah. Jardins de Misfah. So a lot of people talk about this being a date-heavy fragrance. I can't say that I pick up like a distinct date note. What I do get from this fragrance is this really nice, almost watery rose with a little bit of almond in the background, like just a soft, almost powdery almond. Maybe it's not powdery, but there is a little bit of almond. I do get a hint of spices, and a little bit of sweetness. It's a more, for me, soft wearing fragrance and has medium longevity, and it is nice. It's a very nice fragrance. I just don't know that it was sort of deserving of like the highest praise that it got on YouTube a while back. And so in that sense, it is a nice fragrance and worth checking out and maybe even picking up, but I would consider this a little bit overhyped. In the category of hidden gem fragrance, I'm not sure what took me so long to purchase this fragrance. I got it on Blue Mercury, bluemercury.com. It is what I mentioned earlier, Chantecaille Frangipane. Check out this bottle. Maybe a tiny bit gaudy, like with this, crystal ball top and whatever, but I really like this middle part. I like sort of the tallness, the height, and the general width. The proportions of the bottle are really attractive to me anyway. It's not that I've never heard anyone ever mention this fragrance. It's that I don't think it gets the hype that it deserves on YouTube. In fact, it has been quite a long time since I've heard really anybody talk about this fragrance. And so when I came across it on Blue Mercury, I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot all about Chantecaille Frangipane. It's not the most inexpensive fragrance. It's going to be, I think, right at the 200 mark or a little bit above US dollars. I wore this once and already sucked it down however many, portions of an inch that is, because I couldn't stop spraying myself with this. My husband and I, for Father's Day, we went out to a local distillery that sells bourbon. I don't know why that part of the story was important. We went to a distillery, y'all. I had on a nice summer dress and I wanted to smell pretty. It was one of those locations that was half indoors, half outdoors, in that they have those huge sort of garage doors on the side that open up an entire wall. It was a really warm day. I looked really cute. Can we just talk about that? Ladies, when you put on your summer dress and you step out for that first hot day of the summer, you just kind of feeling yourself. It was one of those days. And I put this on, just a beautiful, really sophisticated, unique yellow floral with vanilla, with some touches of powderiness and a muskiness that just make this divine. This is not listed as a note, but I swear I pick up something that reminds me of cooked rice, cooked white rice. Yeah. Way deep there in the background, maybe even like a flat, tea that's been sitting out for a while. So this is what I would consider to be both a very feminine and delicate fragrance at the same time. It's one for me that can be appropriate for a wide variety of occasions, but especially when you want to feel feminine and pretty and delicate and light without going too far into the floral direction. This does have a sense of almost like banana buttery to it from the yellow florals, like very slight. I don't mean banana in that it smells fruity. I mean banana in that the texture, I don't even know what I'm saying. Like the smell, when you smell banana, the texture that you imagine it to be is kind of the sensation that this fragrance gives to you. This is absolutely beautiful. Moderate projection, moderate longevity. In fact, we were out maybe 6-ish hours and I was like, okay, where'd the fragrance go? but it's so beautiful that I just didn't care. Okay, so at this point in the video, I usually get into my low 3, my middle 3, and then my top favorite 3. As you know, in the past number of episodes, maybe the past 5 or so, I've kind of had trouble with the low and middle category because I've been culling my collection and really greatly enjoying the majority of fragrances that I wear every month. So I'm just going to call this category for today, not giving what I needed. Not giving what I was hoping for that particular day, because this I only have one, and it is still an especially lovely fragrance. But for some reason, on the day that I wore Deja Vu White Flower 57, I was thinking to myself, I want more. I want more. I want more from this relationship. So this is still a lovely white floral, a lot of tuberose, a vanilla in here, beautiful vanilla, lovely fruits even. There's pear, there's a bunch of florals, and it's nice. But I felt like I wanted more. I felt like it faded faster than I wanted, maybe like a midday fade. And I was looking for sort of an all-day Easter bunny, not Easter bunny, Energizer bunny type of experience, and more projection. So what do you think? How is your Deja Vu White Flower 57 performing? Keep in mind that this is a tiny bottle and I'm about halfway through. So there's the whole thing about it like being more exposed to air. I don't know if there's science to that or if I'm making that up and if that creates a little bit of a weaker fragrance over time. Because this is one that I had really considered purchasing a big bottle of. It's a soft, sweet, it's what I call a sweet floral without being like cloyingly sweet, just really a delicate floral. I don't know. Tell me, y'all, how do you experience this fragrance and am I being harsh on it? Let me know. All right, so instead of doing like a middle category with fragrances that were neither low or high, but that I want to mention, I'm just going to call this category this month the shout out category. Fragrances that I really enjoyed but didn't quite beat out the others in the other categories, but I think deserve a good mention. And let me also pause to say that I am a partner with both So Avant-Garde and with Joma Shop. I have affiliate links down in the description box if you would so like to shop those. With So Avant-Garde, I have a 20% off discount code, Veronica20, that you're welcome to use to save yourself a little bit of money on at least some of the fragrances that I'll be talking about. They're not all sold on there. And then with Joma Shop, you can shop through that page as an affiliate link and it'll take you out to Joma Shop and you can shop to your heart's content. So thank you for those of you that have been using those links. I truly appreciate it. You're not obligated to. Friends, you can shop wherever you want with the money that you work so hard for. But let's talk about these shout outs. So one fragrance that I do enjoy, especially in the heat, and I haven't mentioned in any of my summer videos, is the lovely Borea from Tiziana Terenzi. I have a dedicated review on this from a few years ago. In fact, it would be interesting for me to go back to that video and see, do I still think the same about this fragrance? This is, wow, like the more this sits, the better that it gets. The more it sits, the better it gets. I would call this a tropical shampoo with coconut and with some fruitiness in it. Floral, coconut, fruity, really delightful, really clean. Definitely has a summer, living your best life, girly, girly type of vibe. Enjoy this quite a bit. Decent longevity, decent projection, a performer. A fragrance that I almost missed out on because I can be a little bit judgmental when I'm sampling a fragrance. If it just doesn't do it for me, I'm like, I always try to go back and try it a second or third time because I know that I'm judgmental and I always advise that you all do that too. But I picked this up on my own recent So Avant-Garde haul. And I went ahead and purchased Gris Charnel from BDK. I've told the story before about how I wore the travel spray that I had of this one night to bed, thinking, let me just give it one more whirl and see what I think. And my husband just went bananas over this fragrance and thought it smelled really great. And I'm glad that I went ahead and gave it another try with the travel spray and purchased the bottle. Gosh, I'm so happy. I'm so happy that I did not give up on you, Gris Charnel. One of the prettiest sandalwood fragrances with a little bit of sweetness, a little bit of, well, maybe a lot of bit of cardamom, like a spicy cardamom, but it doesn't overwhelm. Sometimes cardamom can overwhelm a fragrance to the point where that's all you smell. Here is a supporting player. Look. The lead player in Gris Charnel is sandalwood, in my mind. Cardamom is a supporting player, as is a little bit of fig. I don't get a whole lot of fig in here, just a little bit. And maybe that's where the sweetness comes from. And then the other note that sticks out to me is a little bit of tea. But it's a comforting fragrance on the skin. People have always talked about this fragrance as something that they wear on cold, rainy days. Like, how cliche. Well, y'all, we had a cold, rainy day here in June where it was just like torrential, downpours. The kids are here because they're off for the summer. You know, husband and I were working from home, so the whole family was here, and I just wanted comfort and peace. It was a cold, like 60-degree Fahrenheit for my international friends, 60 degrees Fahrenheit day, which is a little cool here for Virginia in June. And I put this fragrance on and I totally got it. I got the whole like hype and craziness about Gris Charnel in the rain. Yeah, it did it for me. It was like that scent that I needed to set the mood, for that cold, rainy day. Another fragrance I enjoyed this month that is a really easy wear, easy reach, and you either love these bottles or you don't. I think they're kind of cute, y'all. But I'm a shoe lover. By the way, if you love shoes, if you love makeup, if you like girl chat, if you like chaotic conversation about random life, check out my other channel, Essential Veronica. It's linked in the description below. Would love to have you over there for just casual coffee chats and get readies with me in the morning. But on that channel, I talked about all of my shoes and me loving stilettos. So yes, I do like this Good Girl Blush bottle. That's what it's called, Good Girl Blush. Lovely citrus at the top, florals in the middle. I get a lot of peony out of this fragrance. Just fresh, beautiful, like freshly picked peony type of, well, have you picked fresh peonies? They actually don't have that fragrant of a smell, but the little bit of smell that comes from them, imagine that amplified here. Vanilla in the base. And although musk isn't listed as a note, it does come across a little bit like that to me. So this is an easy wear, easy reach. I'm smelling the wrong part of the nozzle. This is where you press and it comes out through here. That's the atomizer. This is an easy wear fragrance, very bright and happy for summer, easy reach. I really like this, very feminine and girly and light and bright and happy. This next fragrance really moves me and I'm so glad that I went ahead and picked it up. Donna, Born in Roma Intense. Wow, what a beautiful vanilla jasmine combination. It has amber in the base. This is a warm, mature, very sexy, alluring, intoxicating kind of fragrance. It does something to me when I put it on. It gives me that like Jessica Rabbit, you own the world with your femininity kind of feeling. I can't understand why people don't like this. I know there are folks in the world that just aren't into jasmine. I don't understand that, especially when it's in a fragrance like this. There are some jasmines that I know can feel a little bit sharp to folks, maybe a little bit indolic and hard to tolerate. They just can't get with it. But when it's here, or like an alien goddess intense, it is just a spectacular floral. So, well, floral, sweet, deep, ambery, warm. This is everything. It's beautiful date night fragrance. I wore this to sleep and I just felt like a goddess. I also wore Juliana's perfume Amore Santal, which is a dupe for Santal Complet, which is a little bit on the pricey side, you all. And I know the longevity on that one isn't that great. And so this one does last longer. It's not beast mode, like all through the night kind of a thing, but it will last longer. It smells so good. It smells so good. It is sandalwood and a really soft coconut smell, period. Like that's the two big things that you get. Maybe has a musky feel. I don't know if there's musk in there, but it has like a little bit of a slight like musky feel to it. But the sandalwood is sandalwooding and the coconut is warm, inviting, friendly. So good. I think I might go ahead and get Santal Complet. I think I've reached that crazy portion of my life where I'm like, maybe I just want the actual bottle. I don't know. So do you have Santal Complet? Tell me, does it last for you? People have different reports. Some people are like, oh my God, it goes away immediately. Other people say they get good longevity out of it. I don't want to have to layer 10,000 things for good longevity. So if the answer is make sure that you wear this and an oil, I just want to know, do you wear it by itself and does it perform well for you? Okay. Moving along. Last shout out before we get into the very top 3 fragrances. Franck Boclet Sugar. Da, 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 da. Oh, honey. Oh, this is so good. It borders, I'm not gonna lie to y'all, it borders on being almost like a plastic bag vibe. But it's not. It's not. I just bring that up in case someone gets that. You can't say that you were surprised. It's not. It's almost there, but it's really like this overdose of this very cloud-like, almost like cotton ball sugariness, sweetness. And I don't mean sugar in the sense of like Aquilina pink sugar, like that kind of almost, cloying, sugary, dessert type of sugar. This is more like a feminine sweetness kind of a sugar. If you have smelled Narciso Rodriguez, the White Cube, which is one of my all-time favorite floral musk fragrances, it's in my top 10. that amazing sense of muskiness that's in that fragrance with floral aspects too. There's a nice, beautiful floral background to this, and this sweetness on the front end that the best mental picture I can think of is like a cotton ball soaked in simple spirits. Okay? Like simple spirits. It's not the most cloying, like sugary sweetness, even though it's called sugar. Sugar. It's, I don't know, it's like a cloud-like sweetness. That's the best way I can describe it. We're here, you all. We're at the top 3 fragrances of the month. I feel like we should play some hype music, some Eye of the Tiger, some like, football, Super Bowl theme song or something, something like that. These 3 blew my mind this month for different reasons. This first one, I think, is in the pricey category. It's $290 for 50 mils, which if you think about most bottles being full size 100 mils, that puts this at a pretty pricey price point, but worth it. Stephane Humbert Lucas, Sol de Jeddah Mango Kiss. I have the regular Sol de Jeddah. There is some similarity between them if you tried the original, but this is its own fragrance deserving of its own review. I am not sure why this is a flanker. Perhaps they could have just called this Mango Kiss. Anyway, nobody asked me my opinion on what it should be called. I do enjoy the bottle. Okay, shiny metallic, yes, a fingerprint magnet, and I like the top. The fragrance was such a huge hit in this house. Everyone thought I smelled great. Husband was like, follow me around when I wore this. He just thought it was so amazing. It's such a hard to describe fragrance. Yes, mango is a significant player. I call it more of like an interpretation of mango than the actual juicy mango itself. It's an interpretation of a ripe, beautiful mango, almost like an artistic painting of it, okay? Like an impressionist painting of mango at its best, along with a smooth, creamy coconut type of feeling to this. So the thing about this fragrance that's super hard to describe, and this is where looking at notes isn't going to be helpful. This fragrance for me, when you first spray it on, first of all, it's super loud when you first spray it on, and it settles and it stays fairly projecting and long lasting. For me, long lasting meaning through a workday, not like 24 hours long lasting. What's hard to describe is that it has almost like this sense, stay with me, because I'm going to say this and then people are going to go, ew. It has this sense of like ashiness to it, like almost in the neighborhood of either cigarette ashes or cigarette smoke way out in the distance. It's such a sort of transparent thread in the fragrance that I feel like it adds a lot of character to the fragrance without actually smelling like cigarette smoke or ashes. It's almost like like an impression of that, if you will, in the fragrance. But what you get combined all together is, for me, I find this to be a very elegant fragrance, complex, super complex. You won't smell like everyone else. I find it intriguing, a little bit mysterious, sort of deep. One that I have worn here right in the summer, but will absolutely pull for in the winter because it has a lot of presence and it's not weak in any way. This fragrance gives. This one does give. Okay. The second fragrance in the top 3 I have talked about before, and I wore again this summer because I was craving this on one of those sort of cold, rainy days. Commodity Milk. This is the expressive version. There are 3. There's personal, expressive, and then bold. I have bold and expressive, which this is sort of in the middle, right? Bold is a little bit woodier. This one is a little lighter, it's lactonic, so you get this milky vibe from it. It's marshmallowy sweetness. It has, ooh, this is so good. It has this intoxicating sweetness to it. I would say this one also has a little bit of woodiness. Like if wood could smell sweet, that's kind of what you have here. Like a sweet woodiness, milkiness, and marshmallows. And it smells so good. It gives you a feeling when you wear it. Like you feel like a bag of marshmallows. You feel like a bag of marshmallows. This is delightful. I enjoyed this. So I have to say I got incredible longevity out of this. I was actually surprised by how long it lasted this time when I wore it. It was dinner time and it was still going pretty strong. We were watching a movie that night. I was still catching whiffs of it. And it's just, I don't know, y'all. This is so good. I kept sniffing myself and going, dang, I smell good. Sweet and beautiful. But also, like, even though it was strong, it had a subtlety to it. Just delightful. And then my third and final, but not the least. Like, I don't know how I would rank these 3. I'd have to really think about that. But the other in the top 3, I nearly passed on this fragrance when I sampled it. I thought it smelled like luxurious soap. And I still think it smells like luxurious soap. I don't mean like clean aldehyde soap. I mean like luxury soap that's scented with maybe beautiful ambery kinds of oils, like almond oils and things like that. Amouage material. Wow. This one is in the same neighborhood as Seta in that it is an ambery vanilla with some spices to it. I would say the spices in here are a little bit more pronounced. I forget what the spices are, but it's in the neighborhood of like cinnamon and cardamom and those kinds of spices that give it warmth. It gives it a little bit of a holiday feel. I have to tell you the thought that I had when I put this on. It was that I wish that this is what Shalimar was or would be. Shalimar, which is a gorgeous fragrance, right? Iconic, gorgeous fragrance. It can be a little bit animalic for me, and it has more sort of citrus at the top that's distinct about that fragrance. I don't get citrus in here, but the body of it, that beautiful, thick, ambery vanilla or vanillic amber, however you want to think about that, because amber is an accord that has vanilla in it. It's just an amazing, enveloping, cozy fragrance while at the same time being very elevated and elegant. This could be a special occasion fragrance too. I love the bottles from Amouage. This could have easily been the best bottle. Okay, it is an intoxicating vanilla for me. You have to like those vanillas that almost look. They're so sweet and so deep that they almost feel a little rotten on your skin, like almost, but not quite. Like they're just on the good side of that. Amouage material gives you that. A little bit of spiciness, a lot of amber, and a really deep, sweet vanilla. So good. So my friends in the US and around the world, thanks so much for hanging out with me. This was a long video, and if you're still here, you're a real one. I give you lots of love, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Mwah.